live on YouTube. Hey, everybody. I'm Arden, and welcome to today's episode of Pro Singer Success Collective. We are going to be talking about how to find the most connected vocal line, otherwise known as legato, how to find legato. And I know you've all heard these singers who just have the most gorgeous connected phrases. And maybe you don't feel like you do that so well, or maybe you wonder how to do it. It is also absolute evidence of a singer's efficient breath support when you notice like super connected phrases. So I have a great hack for you for how to find your legato, how to find the most connected vocal line. Now, if you follow my content at all, if you've come to any of our breath support workshops, if you watched any of my breath support training videos on YouTube, you probably know that one of the most important concepts that you need to get for rock solid breath support is this idea of not changing support when you change pitch. Not changing support when you change vowels, not changing support when you change words, not changing support at all. If you are phonating, your support is flowing through your lower abdominals of support, keeping the diaphragm like really steady and stable, okay? When singers move in and out of their support on each pitch, on each syllable, that breaks the line. It breaks the legato. So first thing to really check is, are you in and out of support on every pitch change or on every syllable? So what that could sound like, I'm going to exaggerate it, okay? But if I was doing like, amazing grace, do you hear all the H's in that? Amazing. That's me pulling off the support when I finish one syllable, one note, and then re-engaging the support when I come back in on the next note. And in that absence, we get a puff, a flood of air, an H, okay? Sometimes singers don't realize that they're doing it because their support is just not consistent. Other times singers think that they're articulating their melody with their support and they're actively doing that. Right? And number one, it breaks the line, right? Because now we have all these H's and all this flooding coming in between. But number two, you're going to run out of air way before you want to if you're singing this way. So when you find legato, when you find the most connected vocal line, I just want you to know that it is because your breath support is super efficient, okay? So really check your body, check yourself to make sure that when you are in that lower container of support, that you're flowing through the flex of support in one consistent motion that doesn't stop just because the pitch changes or the syllable changes. So if I was doing it the inefficient way, the way that's going to break your line and not give you legato, you would probably see amazing grace. Like, do you see all the activity going on in here? Because I'm trying to micromanage and change and move my support to move every pitch. And that's just super inefficient, okay? The inefficient way, if you watch the container of my flex of my support, amazing grace. Like what it looks like to you is like I'm solid, but what I'm really doing is I'm gently flexing through so that I don't contract on each pitch, okay? So that's the first absolute must for how to find legato and how to create the most connected vocal line. Once you have consistent support that is not changing when you change pitch and it is not changing when you change syllables, a great way then to practice legato is by practicing only on the vowels of whatever the lyric is that you're singing. Because we sing 99.9% of the time on the vowels. That's where the sound is vibrating and moving. And the consonants are just kind of sprinkled in there, okay? So if I really want to connect to my legato, I'm going to isolate these vowels and I'm going to sing through these vowels without the consonants. So if that was in the example I was giving you on Amazing Grace, it would sound something like this. Notice how I'm just on the vowels. But that can be difficult for you if you're not used to the consistency of your support, because what will happen is you'll get you hear how I'm breaking up this and the H's in there, right? So before you do anything, isolate the vowels and chant on the vowels. Right? Amazing grace. So that you really know where the vowels are, how close they are together, and what it feels like to move and change the vowel shape with your tongue and your lips without changing the flow of your support every time something up here shifts to change the vowel. So just chant it in normal speech first. Then you're going to chant it on a single note. Right? You feel how connected these are. It's like I'm taking a piece of gum or toffee and like going like this. Most of y'all, you break your toffee. Right? No break in the toffee. Or another image is like a single violin bow, right? Instead of don't bow on every note. That means you're changing your support on every note, and that breaks the legato. And now you don't have that connected vocal line, okay? So all the vowels on one note. Okay? And then you're going to pick a note that's kind of around the general pitch center of what you're singing. So let's say you're singing something that's high. Or let's say that the Amazing Grace that I'm singing is in a higher key, right? Let's say I'm doing amazing. Let's say that's where I am. So I'm going to pick one note that's roughly around the pitch center of where I am. Okay. And I'm going to just do all the vowels around there. Then once I really clock how to change vowels up here without changing the consistency of my lean, of my flow, of my appoggio, of support down there, then and only then will you do vowels on the actual melody. So whether it's the low version, the high version, doesn't matter. One flow of support, vowels changing up here. When you can do that without any H's coming in, without any glottals coming in, you guys know what a glottal is? A glottal is when you use your throat to stop the air. So if you're going, you're moving pitch by trying to control it from here and interrupting what's happening down there. So when you can move through the vowels, oh, I'm going to sneeze, you guys. Excuse me. We're live. When you can move through the vowels, changing the syllables and changing pitch without changing the support, without interrupting up here, then and only then do you put the consonants back. And I want you to think of the consonants as just these little things that sprinkle in. So what you've created when you're on the vowels, that's the current. That is the current and the flow of the energy of your support, the exact great velocity and volume of air and tone that is uninterrupted. That is your uninterrupted current on the vowels. When you sprinkle your consonants in, I want you to think like there's lily pads floating on this current. Do not sync your lily pads with your consonants, okay? Like keep your flow moving. Amazing grace. I'm not going amazing grace. I'm not like interrupting that flow because the flow is created from here down. Open throat and consistent lean of the muscles of support. What I do with my tongue and my lips doesn't need to break that flow. So I can vibrate on my M. I can give a G without everything else needing to halt and interrupt in order for that G to come in, okay? So this is how Great singers create legato, whether they were trained to do it this way or whether just one of the lucky ones who just happens to do it, happens to just intuitively understand it. This is what they're doing. And so you got to go line by line on vowels, on your support, without interrupting, single bow, right? Not bowing on everything, right? To create that legato. And it doesn't matter how many words there are. It doesn't matter how fast it is. Like I was working with one of our singers in our intensive training program this morning on, the song, Need a Little Christmas right this very moment, right? It's very wordy and it's fast. And again, I can be going as fast as I need to up here with words and syllables with my tongue and my lips and not interrupt that consistent flow of the legato that's being created by my consistent support. So instead of need a little Christmas, right? Right? Not going to do it. That's going to break your line. Okay. Consistency here, independence up here. Need a little Christmas right this very moment. I can go very fast and sing as fast as I wanted if I have good legato. Okay. Now, I started this conversation by telling you guys that there's an understanding of support that's needed, just like a default foundational understanding and implementation of breath support that is absolutely essential in terms of how you're embodying the support that you need for this to work. So if you find that you have confusion around your breath support, or you are inconsistent, or you have a lot of H's, or you run out at the ends of phrases, it's going to be hard to implement this in the long run because the basis of that legato is the consistent support. So, I love giving you guys these tips, but also I sometimes feel a little bit like, I don't know, a little out of integrity when I come on here and I do this, because it's like, there's nothing more dangerous than a little bit of information because you have a little bit of information, but you're going in to employ it on a foundation that's really got a lot of gaps in it and that's really got a lot of inconsistencies in it. And so that is what our intensive training program is for, is to set that absolute rock solid foundation for breath support, resonance, artistry, skill set, mindset, like the entire foundation that successful singing and a successful singing career sits on. And so if you're a singer who is out there, auditioning, recording, hustling, performing, like pitching for gigs, doing all the things, and you're not seeing the results of all of that in the form of being able to land these opportunities that you really want. If you're still stuck at side jobs that you hate because you're not able to bring in income as a singer, that is the universe telling you that when you go out for these things, you're not breaking through. You don't have the foundation you need to make the biggest impact with your talent. So while I love giving you these tips, and I will continue to give these tips, like if you're a singer who's frustrated because you're not breaking through, you need a better foundation and you need to get on my call calendar and let's talk about the intensive training program and let's see if it's a fit for you. I will walk you through the step-by-step of how we take singers from inconsistency, tension, strain, not getting in the callbacks, making records that nobody listens to the other side of that frustration, which is knowing how to deliver anyone, anywhere, anytime, like rock solid. That's what this training program is for. And so if you're curious if it would work for you and how we get singers to break through in that arena, then book a call with me. I'm going to put the link in the chat, as I always do. If you're on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the video description. Okay. Now understand, guys, okay, like that this call is not for everyone. Okay. This is for singers who are serious about massive transformation of their voice in their career so they can break through at that high level to build the kind of performances, income, impact that you have been lacking. Okay. So this is not for singers who have never had any training before ever. This is not for singer. This call is not for you. If you're just dabbling, like you just love singing karaoke and you just want to do better at karaoke, like I love you. And this training program is not for you. Okay. But this call is for you if you are frustrated by the fact that you have talent, you have a voice, and you've had a ton of training, and you're still stuck with inconsistency, tension, strain, unable to understand things that have been explained to you. Like you might have been explained breast support many times, and yet like body is still very inconsistent in doing it, which means that the training you've had has not served you. And so you're stuck and you're not breaking through to that next level in your career. So this is the call for you if you want to understand, get clarity on what's been going on, the things that have been stopping you, and how we can help you. And I will walk you through. If you want to train with us to do that, amazing. I'll show you what that looks like. And if not, that's okay too. The call is free. It's because I want you guys to understand that there is a better way to train that gets faster results, that last longer, and that help you break through to a higher level of impact. I see Pamela in the chat saying to get in the intensive. She's in the middle of the training program right now. And I love that you're so in it to win it, Pam, that you're on my live as well. But this is no joke, and this is the real deal. You don't have to take my word for it. We can talk all about what's going on, and I will show you all of the gaps that we can fill and how we do that and how we get the results that we do. So do not let 2026 look like 2025. If you are exactly where you started in your singing in January and it's now December and nothing has changed, and you keep wasting time and money and energy on training that is not serving you, don't be shy. Get on my call calendar, you guys. This is what we are the best in the world at, is transforming singers from good to great so you can go out there and live your gifts. Okay. All right, everybody. So that was our training for today around finding that legato and how to practice it. And if you need the foundations and you want to break through, then let's chat about what's going on in your singing. And I look forward to seeing you on my call calendar. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Bye.